Hello, my name is Jon Cooke, and you're watching One More Conjecture. Okay, just a couple of updates about what I've been doing recently. I've not uploaded very many videos to YouTube in the last year, but I've been making lots of music. I've made quite a lot of tracks and uploaded them to SoundCloud. You can now hear them at www.soundcloud.com/Jon Cooke. That's JONCOOKE, no spaces, no punctuation. The SoundCloud link used to be /One More Conjecture, but I've changed the name that I'm making music under to my name. Yeah. Recently I did my first live performance. It was an hour and a half long, and I've made a short promotional video from that and put that on my new dedicated Jon Cooke channel. I will still be using this channel just to do more technical videos, instructional videos, playing around with Ableton, kind of stuff which I've got up here already. Hopefully a lot more of it. Finally, I am working on a new demo. Got about 4 or 5 tracks, which I'm really excited about, which I'm hoping to finish as soon as I can. And I'm actually going to show you one of the bass sounds from that demo today. So here we go, let's get on with it. Just give me that. Okay, here is my product for this week. Probably my favorite software synthesizer so far, Ableton Live's Operator. It's not actually included in the standard version of Ableton Live. You can purchase it separately, I think for $99 in the US or Canada, about 79 euros in Europe. It's about £59 in the UK. Or it comes included with the full version of Live 9 Suite. The reason why Operator is one of my favorite plugins of all time is just because of the sheer simplicity of it and the efficiency of it. It is an incredibly good plugin to use. It's very hard to open too many instances of it at once. It's very, very light on the CPU, and it's incredibly powerful to use. Here's a little overview of how Operator works. You have 4 oscillators, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's a number of ways that you can program these 4 oscillators to work with one another. The most basic one is just where the one above modulates the one below. So you can see the quality, well, the timbre of the sound changes very, very quickly. But if I start adding more than one sound in at a time, start stacking the oscillators on top of each other, and you get suddenly a very, very different sound depending on how you move these. A small movement changes the sound a lot. There's a lot of theory behind that, how FM synthesis works. It only works in the digital domain. Like, there are kind of analog versions of it, but it doesn't get nearly as complex as the digital version. Also included in Operator, there is an envelope for each of these oscillators to choose how it comes in. This lovely simple little filter. It's got low pass, high pass, band pass, and notch filter. But we've also got an LFO, which can be used on any of the oscillators themselves to modulate them, or it can be used to modulate the filter. And here's what you can make with it when you've practiced a lot and you get kind of good at it. Yeah, listen to that. Yeah. Love it. You can see what I've got going on here. I've got 3 different instances of Operator stacked on top of each other, and then going through this ridiculous chain of filters which I built. If I take off the filter, and thereby all the other effects going on, there we go, quite simple sound. Anyway, what I then did was I put it through another layer of filtering, more effects, just more stuff, to make the sound more interesting, and this is what I ended up with after having bounced the original to audio. But yeah, I mean, all of this is just done with Ableton Live's built-in effects. I haven't used anything else. It's just, overdrive plugin, amp plugin, filter plugin, and stuff like that. And later on, there's another Operator sound which comes in just after this one here. There we go. Now that is just pure FM synthesis. You can see on here the different sounds just coming in. But all this is just done using Ableton Live's inbuilt stuff. A couple of artists who you can read in interviews use Operator a lot. One is Skrillex and the other is Daft Punk. Now I'm going to move on to a tip for something that I'm going to be using in my live shows, and which you might want to be using live as well. Just give me that. Ableton Live isn't really built with kind of traditional DJing kind of mindset in mind, but it can be used that way. And there's something really useful, which I've found very recently, which you might want to get in on. If you are a Native Instruments Complete owner, then you actually own Tractors 12. And these plugins took me a little while to find. I opened up Reactor FX a couple of times looking for them, expecting them to kind of be there. But actually, no, they're in a place I really didn't expect, and I only just bothered to actually kind of follow it up and find out. And they're in Guitar Rig. So I really didn't expect that at all. If you open up Guitar Rig, a couple of things you've got to do. It's a little bit strange, which is, all part of the kind of counterintuitive fact that the DJ effects are in the guitar effects program. First of all, you have to set this little button here for the right speaker to on, because by default, it just takes the left channel. So you've got to put that in. If you want a stereo image, you want both left and right channels coming from the track that you're playing. This is Tractors 12 Delay. Now, this is a really great plugin for one reason, and it's because it has what's called freeze mode. This little button here, freeze. You can set a rate, and then you've got your delay like usual, right? But this little freeze button does something really unusual. It just plays the delay, and it just plays one round of it over and over again. Like that. Now, the real beauty of this is that when you unfreeze it, your track's still been playing the whole time. So you can get that kind of going round effect, and then not interrupt the flow of the track that's playing, You can do it just before the drop, for example. And then, not lose the flow of the track. I've been looking for this for ages, and I've just found it. It's in Guitar Rig. So there we go. That is my 2 cents for how to live. Now for my musical review. Okay, so an album which I'm really, really liking at the moment has really caught me by surprise. It's by a new Ram Records artist. Now, this is a duo. It's two people, named themselves after a historical lady called June Miller for some reason, but there we go. And this album is called Robots and Romans, and it is absolutely phenomenal. They've got a collaboration with Mefjus on there, and I have to say it is one of the most exciting pieces of drum and bass I have heard in a very, very, very long time. It sounds absolutely next level. Okay, these guys, they are super technical. Their sound is so, so clear, and their sound design is absolutely, it's not like the best thing that I've ever heard, but the way they use their sounds, there's so much energy in it. It's really, really exciting. Really, the best thing about these guys is their drum sounds are absolutely spot on. Their snare drums are the meanest, loudest, craziest, most cussing, but perfect snare drums I've heard in a very, very long time in any drum and bass track. There is so much energy in this album. You should definitely go and check it out. I'm really looking forward to what June Miller do in the future. Their album is just so cinematic, and there's a couple of tracks on there which are just kind of there as like interludes and things, but in themselves they're really, really exciting. I've not heard this level of kind of excitement in a drum and bass album for a very, very long time. I would kind of personally compare it to Pendulum's Hold Your Colour in terms of how good it sounds when you're listening to it. After I'd finished listening to it for the first time, I was honestly, what was going through my mind was that this was the best drum and bass album that I'd ever heard, and that this was probably the best drum and bass album that had ever been made. In hindsight, I'm not sure maybe that it's quite that level, but it is so, so good. You absolutely just have to go and hear it. Most exciting thing since Joe Ford. Okay, Quirk of the Week. On to the part of the show where I show you something really weird. Okay, so in one of my tracks, I have this. Yeah, there's two sounds in there. Main sounds, the do-do-do is just like a Synth Master preset, pretty much, which I tweaked a little bit. Oops, just gave it that away. And the other sound in there is that a breathy sound. That's the sort of thing which, usually you reach into a sample pack and you... But no, actually I made that in Ableton Live's operator. Okay, thank you for watching. I am Jon Cooke. This has been